And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, September the 7th, 2019. It is Season 13, Episode 32. And I'm Scott.
I'm RJ.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome, everybody. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our phone number is 334-272-9228, 334-272-9228. Check out ingamechat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. You can email us, everyone at ingamechat.net. You can find us on Facebook, In-Game Chat. You're watching us on Twitch, In-Game Chat. You can find us there. Go to twitch.tv. Type in the little search bar there for In-Game Chat. And you'll be able to find us and join in the chat room live while we broadcast. I'm currently trying to do that now. And I can't.
What can't you do?
Figure out how to detach the chat box from
the video?
Yeah.
I can never figure that out.
Used to be able to do it. I don't know why I can't do it now. That's really weird. So, yeah, who knows? Dang it, Twitch, you go and you mess things up. It's not how it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Oh, well, there it is. Now I can pop it out. Or no, I can't. I still can't do it. That's really weird. I haven't been on Twitch in like a week.
And you forget how to Twitch.
Right? How worse. Yeah. All right. Well, fine. So be it then. Right? In Chrome, you click the gear for the setting in the bottom of the chat, and then pop-outs on the bottom. Oh, switch to non-mod view. Mod view. There we go. That's the problem. You have to be a non-mod view in order to pop out the chat room.
Yeah, I'm using the Twitch app on the iPad. So
does that make a difference? I don't know.
I don't know how to change it. Just whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care enough.
All right, cool. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Tired of hearing this. There we go. Also, forgot to do this anyway, so it doesn't necessarily matter. There you go. I was just trying to get things squared away. Got hectic there towards the beginning of the show. Got real hectic. And I was trying to race against time. That's the biggest worry about. That's like the number one nightmare I think that you have in broadcasting is that the clock never stops. At 4 o'clock, something is going to air on this station.
Ready or not.
Be it completely dead air or whatever. Something's going to happen at 4. At 5, something's going to happen at 5. Same for 6, 7. Every single hour of every single day is going to come and something is going to have to play.
From my time coming here, the two words you don't want to hear in broadcasting is dead air.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So yeah, it's one of those things. So you're trying to get everything settled before 4 o'clock because you know you are locked in this seat until the next commercial break. And commercial breaks for this show aren't very long. If you'd like to fix that, call and say you want to advertise on this show. That would be wonderful. But so yeah, you got to make sure everything's squared away. Got to make sure the dates have changed on the clapboard. Got to make sure that
cameras are set.
Cameras are all set up. You weren't here for us to set yours up, so I'm hoping everything's good with you.
Yeah.
Probably isn't tilted enough for you, but
if not, we'll fix it during break.
I kind of like it where it's like Dutch angle.
Yeah, you're not a guitar visual in a music video from the 80s or whatever. But
Says you.
Well, you're not. I hate to dash your dreams. You could be anything, but you can't be the guitar angle in a video from the 80s.
I see a meme coming.
Yeah. I built a meme the other day. Well, I didn't build it. I just went to a meme generator and did a thing. Mm-hmm. I posted it to our In-Game Chat Twitter account if you want to go see it. So it looks like somebody that built a meme. So, yeah. Let's see. Did I get us out of the way for everything that we're Twitter streaming there? Ooh, emails. We got an email.
We did.
We got 2 emails actually.
Nice.
We haven't gotten emails in forever, so I want to read them. These came from Daniel Phelps. He is consigliere. I think I'm saying it probably wrong. But he said, I just watched the most recent episode I am that guy, so just so you can put a name to the face. We talked about him in the last episode. And so Nate knows who the random jerk face who added him on Steam is. My profile says my name is Alex, which is my middle name that I go by. I've forced many words through Scott's mouth and my mouths over the years. I have written many drunken emails because you fine fellows, both in past and present forms, are the only people I could really talk games with. I live in rural Arkansas, which is not unlike rural Alabama, and unfortunately we don't have a retro games planet where nerds unite, and that was not meant to be a pejorative. I kind of miss competing with Jeff Nabokov to see who could write the longest email, but those are bygone times. And to be fair, everyone is probably better off for it. Yes, we still listen.
Cool.
And I appreciate it. His second email, he says, I decided to do this separately. System Shock 2 is 20 years old now. Remakes,
I know.
Yeah, remakes and sequels abound. It's a thing. If you were there 15 to 20 years ago, now's a good time to go back. Warren Spector, who is leading System Shock 3 and is most known for being the lead on Deus Ex 1 and Deus Ex 2, is kind of old. I question whether this guy is capable of system shocking, and I bet one of my things, I bet one of my jewels that Night Dive will be looking at putting their remastered System Shocks on consoles, which us old guys,
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, can throw our arms into the air about for good and bad reasons. You know what? Even if you weren't there, the game has been well maintained over time by a loving community. There are decent graphical mods. You should do it, unless you were chicken. That is me. I posted a comment on Fishbank's profile along these lines, but how many times can you hear about a legend before it is lost through games of telephone? Never played System Shock. I believe I own System Shock.
Warren Spector also did Epic Mickey.
He did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never played that one either.
I don't know how well received that was. I want to say it was kind of
since it
hit
was-
and miss.
It was a Wii exclusive.
It was Wii exclusive.
Yeah.
So that didn't help it.
No.
I mean, Wii's Wii's
Super
were flying off
popular,
the shelves. People wanted them,
But
but they weren't buying Epic Mickey for the Wii. They were buying Wii for the bowling and the
Wii Fit.
Wii Fit, the remote, the
motion
Wii
stuff,
motion
yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
that a lot of people were doing. And if your game didn't focus on that, and Epic
I
Mickey
think
did
it did a little bit.
have
but
some of it in there, but
it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I tried a little bit of it, and it was okay. System Shock 2 is, that will go down as one of my classics, favorite games. The first time that you're running through the the ship, the Von Braun, and everything, and you hear someone behind you say, "I'm sorry," and they club you upside the head with a 2x4. It creeps you out.
Yeah.
For its time, it was fantastic. It was spooky. It was, you didn't have enough resources, you didn't have enough ammo, and you had everything that's trying to kill you.
So the true aspects of survival horror right there.
Yeah, and you had these weird ghosts and everything. You'd find random dead bodies, and you would go around and you would get pick up audio logs, and you would make your way to somewhere safe. You'd hide behind something and crouch down just to hear the audio log, but to make sure that nothing's going to jump out at you while you're doing it. It was a really good game.
So there's no real pause in this game at all, is there?
You can pause the game.
menu,
It's the problem is that you can't pause and listen to audio. You can't listen to the audio files in pause.
In pause, yeah. So you have to just sort of hide away, or just listen to them on the run.
Game wouldn't stop when you change out your inventory or anything like that. I don't know that it had an inventory, but I'm mostly
It did.
Okay, I'm mostly thinking of BioShock, which was a spiritual successor, basically, and the fact that BioShock had a lot of the elements from System Shock with the audio files and everything else.
It didn't have the inventory management that System Shock had.
But it was still a thing where this game, this train never stops.
Yeah.
This game continues to move on in the background while you're looking through your inventory, while you're listening to audio logs, anything else. If you pause the game, you pause everything.
It had weapon degradation, so you could be shooting your gun and all of a sudden it breaks. And you're like, oh, I'm in a world of hurt now.
I think the closest experience I had to System Shock is I heard enough about it from James, especially when he was here talking about the game as well. But the closest experience I have to it is Enemy Zero on the Sega Saturn. Spaceship, wake up, invisible enemy. Weapons are very highly unreliable in that game. Maze-like environment. Like I said, the enemy is unseen. The only thing that can let you detect where they are is this little earpiece in your ear, and you turn left and right, and depending on the tone you hear, is the position of the enemy. If it's behind you, in front of you, left or right. That's the closest experience I could think of it. But the way I hear about it, it's a very it left an impact on a lot of folks, and I really certainly did pique my interest when I heard about it.
Especially, like 99. So this is the time frame of 98 was Half-Life 2. Half-Life 1, even not even 2. So you had the first Half-Life. You have Deus Ex. They came out 99. You have System Shock 2. All these really seminal classic games. Because unlike today, back in the late 90s, we didn't have this backlog that we do today.
No, we didn't.
How many hundreds of games is in your backlog?
Yeah,
right?
Enemy Zero was 96, so I guess around that, a little before that.
Yeah.
Guess, yeah.
So you had you'd had these gems along the way that you just devour and you just totally engross yourself because you get a couple of games here and there and they're really amazing games. But now we're just almost so inundated with so many games per year, that you're oh well, yeah, I want to try this, but it's in my backlog. Did you beat Detroit?
No, have not beat it yet.
Exactly.
How about you?
I did.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't. You beat it. You beat one.
I beat one.
Right.
You beat one,
Just a lot of stuff.
You beat one scenario. Now you got to go back and see what happens if I did this.
And do the other 38 scenarios or whatever.
How many did that demo have? 7 different endings.
And that was just that one level.
Yeah, just the demo alone. Yeah.
Yeah. But System Shock 2 is an amazing game.
Never had the pleasure.
And I kind of hope that they do bring it out on the consoles.
Well, the way things are going, it should. Like I said, 20 years. It's
20 years.
It's a thing now.
It's a game. Sort of to bump in the news, I guess, a little bit. But, it ties into this. Nintendo Switch is getting, and the PlayStation, I think it's PS4 also, they're getting Jedi Academy and Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2. No, wait.
No, it's not Dark Forces 2.
No, it's not Dark Forces 2. It's
Jedi Knight 2.
Jedi Knight 2.
Yeah.
Jedi Outcast.
Yep.
So really Dark Forces 3. But so, yeah, they're getting Jedi Outcast, and the next year they'll be getting Jedi Academy. So that'll be coming out to the consoles. And, that's interesting because, number one, they're non-canon games. So unlike Jedi, the Fallen Jedi, Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
That's actually, part of the new. Yeah, that's part of the new Star Wars canon. So that is canonical with the universe that they're putting forth. This is a Legends game, so Kyle Katarn, doesn't necessarily exist in the new Star Wars universe. Other than maybe just rumor and urban legend.
It just seems odd.
It does seem odd.
In all the little announcements that they were making, they're like, oh, yeah, here's this game that we're bringing over to the Switch as well. Why? Why do you start with that one? Why are there no other Star Wars games that you're adding into the mix? What is this?
I'm wondering, for Jedi Outcast, are they going to include the multiplayer in that? They said that they will for Academy, and at least that's what I've heard. So that's interesting. But, that had some of the funnest lightsaber battles that I've played, in Star Wars.
So no plans with the ones that came out before that one. They said it was the third in the series.
The third in the Kyle Katarn series.
They're starting with the third in the series.
Yeah.
So the first two are just
Dark Forces. See, the thing with there was a fan base initiative years ago to remake Dark Forces in the Jedi Outcast engine.
Okay.
Because Dark Forces came out, I believe, 94.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. 94, 95 time frame. I think 94. Maybe 95. But anyways, it came out back then. It was one of the first games on compact disc. Not DVD, but CD.
Okay.
Right? It was one of the first games to require a CD to install and to play. But it was based off of the old Doom engine. So you had sprites instead of polygons and everything. And so for the first game, Dark Forces was one of the first games to actually be in real 3D for a first-person shooter. Because Doom was a 2.5D. You know, it wasn't a full 3D because you didn't have levels over, you know, on top of each other. Whereas in Dark Forces, you actually had levels that could stack on top of each other, so you could go underneath one level.
Doom was just 2D.
They considered it 2.5.
Really?
Because you can see in a space, you have, you know...
The first time I ever heard 2.5D.
You really have, I mean, because you have, I would say, X and Z. You don't really have the Y axis for 3D.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Y going up and down. You have left and right and forward and back. And you can kind of aim up, you know, a little bit. Because, like, if they had people up on a higher plane, if you did start shooting, it will aim up. And so that's why they've always...
In Doom?
Yeah, in Doom.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, you would have you would never have a floor underneath a floor, but it would just be like different height planes. And so if you're on the ground height plane and an imp is on a higher height plane, you still can shoot it. Because the bullets will actually go up to it.
First time I heard 2.5D, literally. The first time I ever heard that, and I swear I want to say I wrote something about it because I was talking, I think it was back on our Evil Avatar days, I was talking about, I did a write-up for it, and it was about Splosion Man.
Okay.
And that was the first time that I'd ever heard the term 2.5D because it was a side-scroller.
It's a side-scroller platform, but it is kind of 3D-ish.
But every now and again, the screen would tilt inwards.
Yes.
On the vertical axis, or not vertical, horizontal axis, it would tilt.
It would rotate on the Y-axis.
Yeah, it would tilt. And so you would have this depth as you're running through whatever the level was. And so, I mean, you could go up, down, left, right, that sort of thing. And then when it did this tilting thing, I was like, oh, because then it showed you that the level is built in 3D. So, in other words, you could, if someone were to
mod it, you could first person it.
Mod the game, you'd be able to first person it, and it would show you now.
But when you're playing the game, the camera is set off to be a platform to follow along on one plane.
Somebody did a great thing. There's a guy who does videos on YouTube where he breaks down the level design of games, and it's not the same one who did the Hitman thing, but he did one for Shovel Knight.
Okay.
And he took a scene in Shovel Knight, and he said, here, we broke down the layers. And then the camera moves from a front shot to a side position so that you see the foreground, the background, another part of the background, the light source. All of it is spaced out like it's sliced.
Yeah.
You know? It's all spaced out and how it kind of compacts together. I don't know. I thought it was fascinating. So, but anyway, that was the first time I'd ever heard 2.5D.
2.5, yeah.
I still consider Doom a 2D game. First 3D game, I guess, would have been, I don't know what the first 3D game is, but when it really hit was somewhere, I guess probably around the PlayStation days, was when you took control of like Lara Croft or whatever, and it's like, oh, wait, I can see everything, that when the camera stopped being started being something you could control, which for a while I don't think any other games gave you control of the camera until we got to the PlayStation days.
You mean third person?
Saturn days, maybe? Was Saturn pre-PlayStation? Was Saturn before the PlayStation?
What was Saturn, 95? I think Saturn was 95.
Because maybe Virtua Fighter.
No, we didn't control the camera.
You didn't control the camera, but the camera was moving around the characters.
Yeah.
In other words, there was 3D. I remember the little polygon. There was a bunch of bricks hitting each other.
Yeah, polygon.
For
Panzer
me,
Dragoon.
Yeah.
I think if you hit the left or right triggers, the camera would swing left or right, orienting what you could aim at. Actually, I believe that was how it was in Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah, I can't really think of a game. And then there may have been a PC game that did it too, but I can't really. I'm going on my console memories here, and I can't remember. As far as I know, your Genesis games.
For me, is Dark Forces was my first 3D.
Which was on what system? I know this PC.
Computer.
Yeah.
Did it never had a console release?
It did actually. It came out on the PlayStation, PS3, and PSN.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I was looking it up. Like I said, Dark Forces was 1995, and it came out on for computer, and 96 for the PlayStation. It was the first officially produced first-person shooter set in the Star Wars universe. And then,
Yes, see, I can only go on. Unfortunately for me, I'm only going on console memory.
Yeah.
Where, and really, I don't want to say that's the only place it matters, but at the time, that's probably what everybody else is probably going on as well. I'm just curious when. We didn't do it in the NES. We didn't do it in the SNES that I know of, and we didn't do it in the.
Well, SNES kind of.
Where?
I mean, I don't know about 3D, but they did have the Mode 7.
Right, but it never gave you. Did it give you control of the camera? It never gave you control of the camera.
Star Fox.
Did that control the camera? You controlled your ship. Did you ever control the camera?
The controlling the ship kind of control. I mean,
No, it didn't give you control of the camera. You couldn't. You couldn't move the camera and look at from a side angle, or kind of completely orbit the ship while you're flying it.
yeah.
You didn't have free range movement of the camera where you wanted to put it. As far as I know.
It's been so long since I've done Star Fox that I don't.
I know. Well, it's out on that SNES Mini,
Yeah.
but I haven't touched it. I think it's out. Brought my Switch.
Okay.
They added that. They added Star Fox to the Super Nintendo games when they added the stuff there today or this week. So
I was looking up the dates for the.
see, Arioka
it's a
says
rail shooter?
it's a rail
Okay.
shooter. Yeah.
I was looking up the dates for the Jedi Knight series. The last one that came out was 03.
Yeah.
Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all of a sudden,
Kind of
it's
odd,
even
right,
More,
that,
even
you
more
know.
wondering why this. Maybe was maybe
I think 01 was the Jedi Outcast.
It says
01, 02? Okay.
Yeah, 02 was Jedi Outcast. It was like Dark Forces in 95,
Yep.
Jedi Knight
Okay,
Dark
95.
Forces 2 in 97.
Yep.
And then Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith in 98. Then you had that gap, but then you had Jedi Knight 2.
Yeah, it's odd on a few levels, only for the fact.
Yeah.
Again, we go back to the fact that Disney has said, all this stuff's
We're
old.
ignoring
We're
the
not
past.
ignoring it.
So
It doesn't necessarily, they can't re-release games. They do this.
Yeah.
The games are either out or they re-release them all the time. It's completely fine.
Yeah.
I guess is this being released by EA? Who's the publisher on that?
The publisher for
it's.
Jedi Knight 2.
I know it's being done by the people who do ports out of San Antonio. I forget the company, but they've
Doesn't
done
help.
other ports.
Was it Star Wars Jedi Knights?
Jedi Outcast.
Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast?
Yeah.
Isn't it annoying?
Yeah.
How they
Which
choose
is, I mean,
titles?
it should be Dark Forces 3.
Publishers are LucasArts, Activision Blizzard, Electronic Arts, there's a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
Developers are Raven Software and Vicarious
Yep.
Visions. But I don't get it.
It seems like
Maybe-
an odd one, but I mean, it's an old port.
Maybe it was the most well received out of all the Dark Forces series. I don't know.
I mean, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, that was pretty well
Again, this is
received.
not the Dark Forces series. This is Jedi Knight. This is Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast.
So, I mean, and that's the weird thing. So it follows the character of Kyle Katarn, right? Who started in Dark Forces.
Mm-hmm.
He won a Jedi. In Dark Forces 2, it was Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You become a Jedi. Then this is Jedi Knight 2,
Jedi Outcast.
Jedi Outcast. But it, their naming convention for that was weird.
Regardless, it just feels weird. It feels out of left field. There's nothing else attached to it, like, oh, we're also bringing out this Star Wars game or something like that. There's nothing. It just seems weird that they're doing it at all. So I'm just curious about it. It also ties into our composer today that we're going to be going into here in a little bit. Who's
Weeks?
Weeks? Yes, Weeks. We'll talk to Weeks real quick. Hey, Weeks.
Hey, I thought they were also releasing Jedi Knight 3 Academy.
Yeah.
But
that'll
I
be
heard
next
that as
year.
well, but
Oh, next
Okay.
year.
And
year.
that one, from what I hear, will have the multiplayer.
yeah, those, 2 and 3 were, at the time, for lightsaber
Amazing.
combat,
Oh, yeah.
just awesome. Just
The
totally awesome.
Jedi Academy, where it lacked in plot, it really made up for it because that's when you could double wield. You could either do two
Right.
lightsabers or a double bladed saber, or you can master the single saber.
So this is before the Darth Maul.
Right.
Well, this
craze
is
that
after. I mean, because this came after.
Yeah, it
Phantom
was
Menace
after
was
episode
99.
Okay. No,
So-
Right.
Sorry.
This was actually after episode 2.
And you could
Okay.
make your lightsaber whatever color you wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, you could have done that in Jedi Knight and Outcast as well for multiplayer.
I had a point about SNES 3D. So I didn't really play Star Fox, until 64. But in 64, they had all range mode, and there is a, and I don't know if that was in the SNES Star Fox or even Star Fox 2, which is on the SNES Classic. But there is a level in Super Star Wars Empire Strikes Back where it's the Hoth level.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it is 3D because you're controlling the back of your speeder and you can go anywhere on the map. So in that sense, you can't look at the side of your craft, but you control in a three-dimensional, in the Hoth battle there. And of course you got the tow cables and all that stuff. It was awesome. Awesome.
What was this again?
Time.
Super Star
Wars. I think it's Super Star Wars 2.
Yeah,
it's the Empire Strikes Back one. And you can control the back of the snow speeder, and so you're flying it, but you obviously can't look to. You might have been able to look to the side. I don't know. It would have been kind of like an Easter egg. Doesn't help you in the game, but you can control up and down, and I think your velocity is set going straight. But you can turn side to side, up and down, and navigate through this world, or through Hoth, and find go to the left or the right of the AT-ATs and all of that. But that was for Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm watching it. It looks very Mode 7-ish. I will say that.
Yeah,
I think it is.
It's yeah.
I mean, but
you're still not controlling the camera,
right? Except for the sense that it's behind your vehicle.
Yeah, it's behind your craft.
But I don't know the technical terms, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now, and there's still. That's really impressive the way he's circling around.
I mean, for a Super NES game,
the walk. Oh yeah, no. This is very impressive as to how this is done.
And I'm pretty sure there's another one that is at least one or two more levels on that game that are like that. One of them, you're in an X-wing, and I just don't remember. But I definitely remember, playing, Rogue Squadron. I think there was one before that, Rebel Assault, maybe, where the first one you play. It was on PC.
Yeah, that was on rails.
Yeah, and it was okay. It was on rails. I got you.
And Rebel Assault 2 was the very first footage of Star Wars film since Return of the Jedi.
Awesome.
Not including the Ewok movies.
I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah. Star Wars and SNES, that's my stuff. So.
No, we appreciate it, man. Mm-hmm. Thanks for calling.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man.
Thanks, Al.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm looking at it here. It's very reminiscent. This is very reminiscent of Mario Kart.
I remember in Chrono Trigger, there's a scene, a part when you're in the future and you're doing a race, and like the camera actually rotates around an orbit around, the Mode 7 racers. So
right at the end of it does.
Yeah,
it does the same thing in Mario Kart. Whenever you win,
the camera does.
The camera does a rotation thing. You don't control it, but the camera moves around. But I mean, I'm just going with the first time that the player got control of his camera. And could move it into whatever position they wanted to move it in. I'm not really curious on the first game that did that, but I just feel like that didn't happen until
PlayStation era,
after the Genesis days, either the PlayStation era or the Saturn. Did we find out Saturn before or after the PlayStation?
No, I think it was before. But I
thought it was too.
I think that would be more something that you could do only in with polygonal games, as opposed to sprite games.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Then again, they did it with Mario Kart and with, like you said, F-Zero.
Yeah.
Where the camera kind of did this whole rotation thing.
And, I mean, do you consider first-person shooters as 3D?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Because, again, you have... Well, first-person shooters... That's a tough call. Yes... I do, because they're built in a 3D environment and they are in 3D. If you're talking about the modern first-person shooters, a lot of people look at Doom and Wolf 3D and that sort of thing from back in the day. They're like, oh, that's a first-person shooter. It is, but it's in a 2D environment type thing. So,
whereas Dark Forces was the first one to actually go full three-dimensionals. and everything after that, like with Hex and Heretic, Outlaws, all that stuff was in a 3-dimensional environment.
Yeah, Saturn was May of 95. PlayStation was September of 95.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was around that time, I think, where it all kind of broke away and was like, yeah, we can do this.
yeah, technology.
Yeah, speaking of doing things, we got to take a break. Like I said, there's a tie-in to this because I found a composer. I just searched Video Game Composer. I find somebody and I'm like, let me click on them. Boom. And see if they've got at least enough that I can find 7 tracks. This guy had plenty. His name is Peter McConnell.
Okay.
Dude did a ton of LucasArts games. I mean, there was Star Wars after Star Wars after Star Wars. The one he did not do, which would have tied in very nicely, was that one,
Yeah.
Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. He did not do that one. Anyway, we featured a ton of Star Wars on these games, so I decided not to pick one of the Star Wars tracks for any of our titles.
Boo.
However, to appease Matt, I did pick one for him, and it turns out it's coming up right now. So enjoy
see if I
this,
can
Matt.
guess
This
it.
first one's for you.
Okay.
The rest of them are not. Go ahead and take a guess, but think your first. I know what your first guess is going to be.
Loom.
No, that's not your first. But ask me about Loom.
Yes.
If that was your first guess, then never mind. I can't help you. No, this one comes from. It's your other favorite game.
All right, play it.
You don't know? I thought you were going to guess. You're not going to guess.
Grim Fandango?
Oh, I guess not then. All right. We'll just get on with it then. This comes from, I don't know the year. You probably know it.
Oh, this is Monkey Island. Isn't
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it?
The iMuse version, it sounds like. Is this Monkey Island 2? Let's
Yes,
Revenge?
that is what it is. That is exactly what it is. All right, so it's Peter McConnell. We're going to let that play, and when we come back, we'll have more of in-game chat right after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music here from Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare, composed by Peter McConnell, who is our featured composer for this week on the show. Nothing but games from Peter McConnell that he has composed for. There is another title in his repertoire that I kind of hemmed and hawed on if I want to use it because I've used a lot from that game before, but I couldn't pass it up. It's just too good not to use, so it is in the list. It's in the mix. I had to switch out Bard's Tale for it.
Okay.
From the PS2 days, the Bard's Tale. I
Yeah.
switched those. Which, by the way, Bard's Tale, the new one, Bard's Tale 6? 5? 6? Whatever. It's out on the Xbox Game Pass, by the way. So there's a lot of games out on the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
I looked at it before I left because I was going to have it download Gears 5. Because Gears 5 is already...
Is that on the Game Pass?
Mm-hmm.
Is that just for the Xbox but not for the PC?
No, it's on the PC too.
Really?
Yeah.
So I could download it for the PC?
I think you can. I believe you can.
Interesting. I'll have to check into that.
The thing
I just
about-
don't really get into the Games Pass on my PC all that often.
I think they're trying to change that for you, though. I really think they're trying to make it more PC friendly. There's a lot of games they just can't do that with, but any of their...
Well, their launcher's garbage.
Is it still garbage?
I think so.
I don't know. I mean, I had heard it was garbage. I thought they got it fixed. I don't know. But anyway, I was looking. Blair Witch is up there. Yeah, Blair Witch is there. Gears 5 is there. Creature in the Well is there that we just talked about.
Yeah.
I say we talked about it. We talked about it off air. We're going to be talking about that, though, here soon. There was, oh, man, there was something else on there that I was surprised to see. Although I think I just said what it was a minute ago, and I can't remember at all what it was. Completely drawn blank out of my head.
All right.
Anyway, so, Bard's Tale.
Okay.
And they also have the Bard's Tale, the Bard's Trilogy on there, and a couple of other... There's a lot of titles to pick from. Just a ton. And...
I mean, like, 'cause I also have, like, the Origin, you know, EA Origin, and I just don't get on there enough just to see, like, because they have their archives games.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, this one worked for me because of the fact that I got that whole deal where it extends it through, like, 2 more years. I don't have to pay whatever that price, $15 a month or something like that. I don't have to pay any of that for, like, another 2 years or something like that. So, from that little deal they did over E3. I've heard Blair Witch is supposedly bad, sadly. Had some hope for that game. But it's on Xbox Game Pass. It's completely free for me to download and try it out and see how I like it. So, and I might do that. I don't know. Going to PAX, my trip was, I had a lot of fun on the trip. I went to my first Major League Baseball game.
Oh, yeah?
That I'd never been to before. Yeah.
How'd you enjoy it?
I loved it. Went saw the Mariners versus the Yankees.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, I got to see Aaron Judge hit a home run. That was quite fun.
Any foul balls come your way, or
No, not a problem. It was the weirdest thing, though. You may have seen this on my Facebook post. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weirdest thing was I sit down to watch this game. I am 3,000 miles away from home, and I look over, like I'm sitting on an aisle seat.
Yeah.
So I look over into the aisle next to me, 2 chairs over. There's a kid in a Yankees uniform, but he's wearing a Montgomery Biscuits hat.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I just, I talked to them as I was leaving, and he said, no, he just likes the mascot. We don't have no idea.
Oh.
Are the biscuits any good? I was like, well, they're having a great year this year.
Yeah. When I was in England, I had a Biscuits hat, and I was... I went in Cambridge, but I was like at the base there, just walking around. Someone's like, "Oh my God, the biscuits! You from Montgomery?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you heard it because all it was the M with the biscuit." And I'm
Right.
like, okay, not what I expected.
So you had that look
in
on your
England.
face. So you had that look on your face, like, why is this name popular in England?
But yeah, just some random guy in England, like, I've seen a couple biscuits games.
Go figure.
Sure.
I was just looking. It looks like, they're in a series right now, and they're behind 2-1 in the series that we're looking at. Anyway, talking about sports. But yeah, Blair Witch apparently is supposedly bad. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try it out. Got to PAX. Did my first baseball game. That was fun. I went to the party for for Tiny Build that I went to last time and got horribly smashed for. This time, I had a drink. Then I had water. Then I had drink. Then I had water. Then I had drink. Then I had water. That worked wonders. Wonders.
Yeah, because I hear one of the first things you experience with a hangover is extreme dehydration.
Yeah, no, it worked wonders to keep me from doing too much.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic, and I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed my time there, and then PAX started, and my first appointment was on the ground floor or on the top floor. I can't remember, but I will go through a couple of them. Ocean Blue was one of the first games that I played.
Okay.
This is a very chill, and I mean extremely chill, ocean exploratory game.
Mm-hmm.
You're a diver. You go to these buoys. You activate the buoys. You search for the noises, the sounds of the animals. Once you can find the sounds of the animals, you swim over to that location.
Mm-hmm.
You tag the animals so that you have this whole database full of the different kind of whales, the different kind of stingrays, all these different kind of fish.
Mm-hmm.
There is, as far as I can tell or was told, there is absolutely no combat. There's no jump scares. There is just you exploring the ocean. That is it. That's all there is. So it is a very chill game. The one of the BBC documentary folks who did Blue Planet, I think, they took note of these guys' work, and they said, hey, you're working on an ocean game. We'd like to partner with you, and you can use our database and our footage and our video and everything else. And so, and I have an idea that maybe the stipulation on that was you can do this, but you can't make it about hunting, or you can't put any kind of that stuff. It just has to be exploratory, and that's what they got out of it. So, just an exploratory game about the ocean. One of the other ones I saw was Superliminal.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game that plays like a cross between the Stanley Parable and Portal.
Okay.
The narration and the setting is a very Stanley Parable situation. The gameplay is Portal-ish, ish, I guess. In other words, that there's a concept to it where it's about your perception.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a room and you have to figure out how to get into the next room with whatever they give you. And you have no gun or weapon. There is no fighting. There is no combat. It's simply, how do I get out of this room? And they have things where you have to sit something on a pressure plate to open a door or something like that to get through.
Right.
And I imagine the challenges get bigger and bigger. They also had an interesting one where there was a Rubik's Cube on a table. So I picked up the Rubik's Cube. And I was able to position the Rubik's Cube to become a certain size, where it would be bigger than what I was looking at. Once it sat down and I went to click it again, one of the walls of the Rubik's Cube, like the outer walls, it became an entrance. In other words, I clicked. I thought I was picking up the entire Rubik's Cube. Instead, I only picked up one side of it. And when you pulled that away, there were all these pipes and things. Basically, it was at the end of the demo. So when you walked through there and fell down, you started at the back at the beginning. And that was the end of your demo run. But it has different mechanics like that, where things are just not always as they seem, and your perception is how you shape the level that you're playing.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking during the break about how, the closer you get to something, the bigger it is, and when you pick it up, it's like locked and set, and
right.
Things drop.
Like if I'm standing across the room and I get the option to pick up the clock radio at the other end, that clock radio is really, really tiny.
Yeah.
But if I move and pick it up, in other words, if I move closer to it and pick it up, it's normal size.
Yeah.
Now, if I take that normal size, where I'm looking at it, and this is very hard to explain over the radio or even to you guys visually. So I pick up. So the table's in front of me. The table's normal size. The clock radio's normal size. I pick up the clock radio and it sits right here in front of me. Table's under it. That's fine. If I walk to the back of the room, the clock still stays where it is in front of me like this. It's still the same size as when I picked it up off the table. However, now the table has become very small because it's in the back of the room.
Yeah.
If I choose to sit that down on the table,
It'll crush the table.
it becomes this large clock.
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain. You would have to, I would say, go find a trailer for Superliminal so that you can understand what I'm saying. Because it's very, very hard to explain.
Yeah.
But
I think like your car in the parking lot, Oh, like you're going to the mall, go to your car in the parking lot. If you could pick up your car from where you're at, you could be like the size of a Hot Wheels vehicle. Yeah, it's all about perception and distance.
Yeah, it is.
Game. That's what it's playing with.
Yeah,
that's
and
what it sounds like.
That's some of the ways that they gave you. So, they would put me into a room where a door was much higher than I could ever get to, but they would leave me this like small eraser. On the ground. It's one of those erasers that are whatever angled in a certain way,
Pink pearl eraser.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I would have to pick it up, move it, make it big, and I was like, okay, it's not big enough. Pick it up, just kind of repeat steps over and over because every time I did it, it got, exponentially larger every time I did that until it was the size I needed to where I could hop up on it, walk right out the door.
Yeah.
So that was a fantastic game. I enjoyed that a lot. Very short demo. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much, and I played Creature in the Well, which is out now. Creature in the Well is on Switch and on PC. It's also on Xbox Game Pass. I did not know this. Creature in the Well is a combination of this. It's got pinball mechanics, such as bumpers and things like that, and the balls that you smack around the table, but. There's also a bit of a breakout aspect to it because you have this ability to, like, if somebody shoots the balls at you, you're able to swing your sword and kind of hold them in place and then charge them up and then fire them off again. And so eventually you'll have 3 or 4 balls that are on the playing field. The balls that hit you, they don't hurt you or anything like that. There are some projectiles that you cannot catch. They will hurt you and hit you. There's laser beams and things like this that you have to dodge all the while you're trying to hit these balls in specific directions. So yeah, that Creature in the Well was a lot of fun. But it's out now. I didn't realize it was that close to being released. But yeah, it's out now on Switch, PC, and on, I guess, console. It may just be Xbox.
Not sure.
It may not be on PS4. I'm not exactly sure on that. So it was a lot of fun. What else did I play? There was a lot that I played. And I should have brought all the stuff that I got for it. There's another game that's out now, Falcon Age. I played that. I didn't like that.
Okay.
I didn't like the controls. Now, they did have a VR setup. Maybe it works better in VR. But I didn't really like the controls. You command a falcon, and you just point and send him out, and he'll attack the drones or something like that. You also have this this metal weapon. It's not a gun, but it comes with this electric grappler.
Yeah.
And so that's how you can grapple things and pull down drawers and break things and switches and whatever else and make attacks and stuff. But it all just felt very clunky to me.
Creature in the Well says Switch, Windows, and Xbox One.
Yeah, okay. Exactly what I thought it was. Yeah. So, yeah, I've asked for a Switch copy of that one. But I was trying to get one for the plane ride home because I thought it'd be great. When I played it there, I was like, this would be fantastic. I wish it was out now for my plane ride. It's like, oh, we can get you. We can get you. We can make that happen for you. But I never reached back out to him. I just got too busy with things. So, but then I noticed, hey, it's on Xbox Live Game Pass. Sure, I'll do that. Anyway, we've hit the top of the hour, and I still have a lot more to talk about from the PAX trip. It's a lot of indie games. There's a lot of great indie games. I did not play. I'll tell you what I did play. I played Destiny. Because they were giving these out whenever you played.
Is that
What's
the
that?
Hunter logo?
No, that's the Drifter coin.
Okay.
You probably haven't played Gambit yet.
No.
Yeah, and that's what that is. Mm-hmm. These are going for about $45, $50 on eBay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is anytime you played. So if you played the game, you got one of these. Mm-hmm. Every time you played the game, you got one of these. Then there was a line where you could wager this and do a 3-on-3 survival combat.
Okay.
And if you won that one, you got a really nice pin that is also going for a pretty hot price.
Higher price, probably.
Yeah.
A much higher price. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you lost, you lost this.
Gave it up.
So.
Well made, solid material. It feels like.
Oh no, it's completely. It is.
Metal?
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's metal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's metal. Yeah.
It is totally. Yeah.
Kind of like one of those 501 things you had made.
Well,
Those half coins. Yeah. Yeah.
So. It was nice to get that. I love getting physical, well-made physical objects. You know what I'm saying? Because they could have
Plastic that.
Yeah, they really could have done some
Got some well-made swag. Yeah.
right, some cheapy stuff with this if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
They really could have. They really could have said, we're just going to do this. We got too many of these. Let's just make it happen, and they did not. And here I am, trying to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, so that's what I did. It was nice because the press got to go in. Normally, the press gets to go in an hour on the first day. We get an hour earlier on the first day.
Mm-hmm.
This year, they cut us back to 30 minutes. But they let us go in 30 minutes early every day. Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Which was kind of even better.
Yeah.
So for me, with all my appointments lined up and everything else, when I got in early, I just went straight to the Destiny line and played so I could get some of those. I was trying to get some for our clan, and then I also kind of wanted to bank them so that I could do the thing towards the end of my time at PAX to try and get one of those Crucible things.
How many did you end up getting?
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8,
6.
9, 10, 11, 12.
I got 6. I actually got 7, but I gambled one of them and lost.
Okay.
So I got 6.
You put it in the camera, see what it looks like to the folks. All right.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. That's fine. I mean, if they, Lethal Migraine will say it's crap. Yeah. Exactly. There you go. Yeah, I didn't go to the panel. What?
You did. It's like everything's crap, but Cyberpunk. Like, nope, didn't do the panel.
Yeah, I didn't do the panel. Sorry, I can watch the panel online somewhere.
Yeah,
that's the thing about panels is that just watch them later. Go play your games. Go have fun. Go enjoy Seattle, which I did. Oh God, it's after. I got to take a break. We got to take a break. I'll talk more about that afterwards. Here's another one, kinda for Matt.
I like this.
Peter McConnell not only did stuff for LucasArts, he also did stuff for Double Fine.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
The track on this one is called Hero.
It's from Psychonauts?
Not Psychonauts. This comes...
Costume...
Is this anything to you?
This is from Broken Age?
Broken Age! He got it. This track is called Hero. We'll be back with more in-game chat right after this. And welcome back to In-Game Chats. You're listening to music by composer Peter McConnell. This is from the game Hearthstone.
Okay.
The
Blizzard game?
Yeah.
Nate played that a lot.
He played a ton of it. He knows exactly what track this is. So let's go to the phones, talk to Chris real quick. Hey, Chris.
What's going on, y'all?
Not much, man. What's been going on with you?
I missed that weather I had on vacation like you did about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I missed the weather that I had with Seattle. I can tell you that much. Now when I went to the baseball game, that was on a very blisteringly hot Seattle 83-degree day. For Seattle, people, 83 degrees is up there. That is, keep your pets inside. That's stuff where they kind of freak out about it. It was, however, the thing that you won't find in Seattle, that you will find an abundance of here, is humidity. There was absolutely none. So
it felt perfectly fine with you, didn't it?
Sitting in 83-degree weather was like sitting in 75-degree weather here, or 73-degree weather here in the spring. You know, a breeze is nice. In the shade, you're good. 83, even in the sun, ain't half bad. But just did not have to deal with the humidity. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, we had just got back last week, or the week before, from a 2-week vacation. We went out to see Mount Rushmore and then traveled up and saw Yellowstone for the 3rd time. And, yeah, the mornings we got out and were heading into Yellowstone to look around through the park, it was so cold out there, I actually had to roll the window up on the passenger side that it was getting so cold. And I really like the cool weather and all, so that it was in the 30s or 40s in the early morning times out through there. Even with the low humidity, it still felt good, but I couldn't deal with it for too long, and I had to roll it back up for a while.
Well, what have you been playing lately? Anything?
Well, played a few things out there on vacation on the Switch. You know, not much of nothing, but I just got back into playing No Man's Sky, and I think, I haven't played this in a long time, so updated it and got hooked on it again.
I hear the update makes it better.
I enjoyed what it was in the past, but it's more involved and you know, it seems like a true, you know, adventure game. Yeah. You know, the way everything is done is different, but it has the same feel to it.
So have they redeemed? Have they redeemed themselves? What was it? Hello Games who made that?
I believe so. I always liked it before everybody was criticizing it and all, but it's just one of those that I enjoyed playing. So it seems like a lot of people have redeemed them for it. Said they did a better job at making it better.
Well, better late than never, they always say.
Yeah,
that's true.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking at Pillow Castle Games, who are the guys who did Superliminal, and I was trying to find out, if they'd worked on anything else, because when I look up Superliminal in Google, it shows Stanley Parable, and I thought, wait, are they the same ones? Because if they are, then no wonder it has that feeling of Stanley Parable. So.
Got that puzzle aspect of it going on, yeah.
Yeah. It says people also search for Antechamber, the Stanley Parable, Portal. So, yeah, that kind of works in its favor. Anyway, I'm sorry, Chris. I got distracted by the internet, as I normally do.
It happened.
Yeah, I really haven't played anything other than, what I played at PAX. That's pretty much it. And I'm kind of going over that list now, so. Anything else?
Well, we got one of the famous geysers. If you get a chance to look up some video of it, it's called Steamboat Geyser. But it threw up on the truck in the parking lot from where we were witnessing its eruption. It's one of the ones it's not as timed as Old Faithful is, where Old Faithful goes off every 90 minutes. Pretty close to that, but this one just goes off whenever the heck it wants to, or just it's completely random. So we happened to be there the day it broke this record in a year that it erupted from last year in the same area that it was. So we were right there in that area and wow, what in the world is that sound? Is that steamboat going off? And we raced over there. A lot of like the other people were in the area were, but that one erupts about 300 to 400 feet in the air, and the wind was drifting in a certain direction, and it blew the silica and water stuff from the eruption onto the truck and gave us a nice looking white speckly paint job.
No damage though, right?
No, there's no damage to it, but it just coated it in some gunk from the geyser.
Well, Chris, we appreciate you calling, and always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
All right, y'all have a good afternoon. Stay
You too.
cool.
Take care now.
Take care. If you want to get in touch with us, you can 334-272-9228. So going back to the list of games, the next one I saw. What is this one? Why don't I know this one? Oh, this is Tiny Build. Yeah, I went to Tiny Build to see their new game. Oh, man. So, Tiny Build, big space on the show floor. Massive space. It used to be this tiny little space. Now it's a very, very big space. They had 2 booths set off. One was where they were demoing a bunch of their usual games, Hello Neighbor and that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other one was basically they had a bunch of caskets on the ground for their game Graveyard Keeper. Mm-hmm. They were all caskets. And to play the game, you had to lay in the casket and play the Switch version of the game. So there was nothing but people laying in caskets playing the Switch version of the game. It's fantastic.
I'd lay in the. I would do it.
Oh, no, it was great. I loved it. And they had a little fog machine spitting out fog. Mm-hmm. It was perfect. If I had awards to give for the demo stations and stuff like that, they'd have won, hands down. I mean, Monster Hunter was there with a giant ice monster thing. Mm-hmm. Borderlands had Borderlands, but that would have won it for me.
They had caskets.
Just caskets that you lay in and play their game. It was fantastic. So I saw Tiny Build. I played their new game, Not for Broadcast. This is very Five Nights at Freddy's, but without the horror aspect to it.
Sounds like you're managing a station and making sure things don't go haywire or something like that.
You're managing a news broadcast.
All right.
Censoring?
Censoring is involved.
So like Papers, Please? A little bit more intense Papers, Please?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Because you're managing all aspects of it. So you have 4 screens on the left and 4 screens on the left, a screen in the center, and then another big screen on the right.
Okay.
So the 4 screens are connected to the 4 buttons under them that you can press. Mm-hmm. And the screen in the middle, I think, is the screen that is displaying... No, I'm sorry. The screen in the middle is the screen that you've selected.
Okay.
The screen on the right is the screen that's going out over the air.
This is going out, yeah.
Uh-huh. So you press the buttons you need to at the time you need to. You queue up commercials. Mm-hmm. If there's a live interview, then you have to be the director of how long the camera stays on whoever's talking. Mm-hmm. Turn to put the camera on somebody else.
Camera 1, camera 2.
Yeah, for a reaction shot, a wide shot.
So this is a station manager.
In a sense, yeah.
Station manager. Okay. The not for broadcast part got me thinking that's like
horror based or something.
No, well, something's messing with your broadcast, and you're trying to put out little, like you said, little fires as they keep popping up, basically.
You are trying to put out little fires. Then there's some kind of mini game that pops in, whatever. Some static is coming through, and you have to move the signal.
See, to me, this sounds like Broadcast Simulator.
It kind of is, but but it's also Tiny Build, and they're kind of stupid. They're not stupid, but they kind of like being stupid with things. And so the broadcast that once you're done with it, you get a grade for how well you did. Mm. In the meantime, you've got to keep your viewership up. So, staying too long on a shot will bring viewership down. Letting bad words go out over the air brings viewership down. You've got to make sure that viewership...
Perk up, actually.
Once it's done, you have the option to actually watch the broadcast that you directed in the editing, the exact way that you edited it. Mm-hmm. And you can watch the entire broadcast. Mm-hmm. And the entire broadcast, by the way, is live action. Mm-hmm. It's all actors doing their thing, and it's all been videoed and taped. So it was interesting. So yeah, I was actually impressed and excited.
It's an FMV game.
Yeah, in a sense.
Something like Night Trap.
In a sense, sort of. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm curious as to how much they filmed for this. Some of the actors they used were some of the people who work at Tiny Build.
Okay.
Because I recognized
easy pool of
I recognized
talent, right?
some of them. Yeah. Still, things had to be written, things had to be conceived. The shots where there's an interview outside, maybe there's a ribbon cutting for a building or something like that. Those were all filmed somewhere. I don't know. So a lot of effort into that.
It's a unique aspect, I think.
It is.
Because no one can't think of any. There's a lot of simulators out there, of course, but one for a TV station, not so much.
Yeah. The next game I played was Everspace 2.
Oh, yeah.
Did you play Everspace?
I think I have it. I just haven't played it, but
Well,
I've
they got rid of the roguelike aspect to it.
Yeah.
One
One of the guys I follow, Obsidian Ant, he talked about how he's really looking forward to this. And
yeah. I played a little bit of it. I think a controller is best to play with this. Mouse and keyboard is very difficult to play with this.
I think either controller or a joystick.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if I had my druthers, it would be a flight stick. You really need something like that to enjoy it. What I played was real tough. It's very hard for me to play space fighters. I don't know if it's because it was mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult for me to stay locked onto somebody and track them as they fly past, and then me having to do a large loop around and then there felt like a lot of downtime of me more chasing an object than actually firing on it or blowing it up. And I wasn't happy with that.
All right.
And I'm not saying that's on the game's fault. I was playing with a mouse and keyboard.
That doesn't seem like the optimal way of playing.
But I did enjoy it. This is a game that is all, they have no outside backing or anything. It's all funded within. Mm-hmm. The first game helped them fund the next game. They're going to do a Kickstarter and an early access. All of that will go into the game. They've got somebody backed them, and it's not Epic Games or anybody like that, but somebody backed them that had a good amount of money to help them with everything. So, that's what they're doing. And I think it's coming out. I think it's hitting early access pretty soon, if not already, if I can remember right. So, the next game was a game called Best Friends Forever. This is a dating game. You play as a character who just comes into, it's called Rainbow Island, or I can't remember what it's called. Mm-hmm. You come to a new city, you meet new people, and you try and date them. Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
All right.
The hook is...
What's the hook?
There's dogs involved.
What?
Well...
Is this like Must Love Dogs?
In a sense.
Wow.
Like the whole island is just that people have pets. People have dogs. And like the first thing that you do, once you get there and get to your apartment, the first thing you do the next morning is get up and go to the shelter to get a dog. And then you have a dog. And that's how you meet other people, is through the dogs. See, Arioka's thinking it's a Tinder game. Think more along the lines of, oh man, what is that? What's that dating game? Oh God, it's on Steam. Hang on. Oh, I don't want Reddit. No.
Danger.
Didn't want Reddit.
Oh man.
No, not Daddy Daycare.
What? Dogs.
Oh no, that's not what I want. Oh,
What are you looking for?
hang on. Dream Daddy.
Dream Daddy?
Yep, a dad dating simulator.
Oh, the sad thing is, yes, I know what you're talking about.
See, now you know what I'm talking about.
I wish I didn't.
Very much. Lethal Migraine knows what I'm talking about. That one as well, where you're playing as pigeons that do that as well. I remember that. I remember seeing that when it was on the PAX show floor ever how long ago. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, you meet people and it's with a dog, and I was just like, okay. I signed up to it because they didn't tell me what it was ahead of time. They said we have a mystery dog game, and you're really going to want to see this. And so I was like, all right, fine, put me down.
Dream Daddy.
Who knows? It could be something great, and it is kind of great because it involves dogs.
Yeah.
And I love dogs.
You like dogs?
I like dogs. So yeah, so I saw that. What was the next thing I went and saw? Backbone was the next game I saw. Backbone is the one where you play a raccoon detective.
Raccoon Detective.
Yep.
All right.
And that was really good.
Really?
That was really, really good.
A very good detective story.
Yes, very noirish.
So despite the characters,
Like-
if it's a good detective story, then it'll hook you.
Like you're
I
a
do like noir.
you're a bipedal raccoon.
Why not?
Yeah, you're wearing a trench coat and a tie. You know,
And
you're
like a fedora?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he wears a fedora. He might. I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, you're a detective.
Yeah.
You're a private investigator is what you are, actually. You're not a detective. You're a private investigator.
You're a gumshoe.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're trying to get into this club, and then you have to go to the back alley of the club and shake some people down to figure out how to get into the club. And then once you get in, you talk to these people. And there were stealth mechanics that were really cool where you crouch down, and if you're in the dark, nobody sees you.
Like L.A. Noire with raccoons.
It was now there weren't any interrogations like that, but it was more than what I expected.
Okay.
It was more.
Hey, as long as it's more than what you expect and it's a surprise, I think that's interesting.
It was more than what I had expected. The next game that I saw was a Fold Apart. This was the game where it basically starts off you're in a long distance relationship, and
With Dream Daddy?
well, no, you do have dreams. The dreams are you getting to your girlfriend, and the way that works is that it's a puzzle game where basically you take one part of the screen
And you fold it over.
and you fold it over.
Is it kind of like a black and white?
It's not black and white. It's full
Okay.
color. It's full color. But
I think I've seen some stuff about
yeah,
that.
each screen that you see in front of you also has something on the other side.
And kind of like those old Mad Mad magazine, the back covers where you fold them in together and it makes
right.
a different
Makes a
image.
different
Exactly.
image, yeah.
Yeah. I've
And
heard
so if you
something.
fold these in, maybe it extends the platform so that you can get to the next level, that sort of thing. So it's puzzle in that, which way you flip the page or which part of the page you scroll. So if you take the left side of the screen and scroll it inwards, that creates level. But then if you flip it over, that will then connect it to the other side, that sort of thing. So there were different options and ways.
Spatial puzzles.
Very much. And I enjoyed that. I loved that. I loved it very much. Very quick demo. Unfortunately, I saw the person who was playing it before I went,
So you kind of knew.
so I knew exactly what to do when I got there. So it went very fast for me.
Oh, that's a shame.
But I'm curious as to how else they did that. What other puzzles are they putting into this thing? That's what intrigues me more about puzzle games is not necessarily the puzzle that got me hooked on it, but how far can they take this concept?
I would like something like that, like with a random sort of generated puzzle. Because, my problem with puzzle games is once you do them, you know the solution.
Yeah.
But if you have like a randomly generated puzzle, then you won't know the solution because it's randomly generated every time.
Yeah.
So if they could find a way of doing something like that,
Yeah, not a lot of replayability when you know what's
what's
coming. Yeah.
As much as I love adventure games, once you know, click this, do that.
Like Scott, with your puzzle games, you ever you have a lot of replayability? I mean, is there different ways you can do it, or
No,
not really? Yeah.
like the room. Once you beat the room, you've beaten it. You know, unless you just brain dump it and forget everything you did about it.
I went back to the room and played it on Steam.
Okay.
And I still enjoyed it just as much. It had been years since I played it.
I still think the next one needs to be in VR.
It took me a little bit to remember some of the solutions.
But once
you don't
you do,
remember everything.
yeah.
Right.
But, it took me a little bit to remember them. But I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it was fun playing it on my computer instead of my iPad. The next game I went and saw was a game called Project Witchstone. I can't tell you much about this game. It is
I think we made a joke on that last time.
we may have, I don't know.
Yeah, the old. Yeah. Okay.
It is from the same people who did the game Stories.
Okay.
Stories, was it called? Stories.
The Tale.
Tale of Brothers or something?
No. Stories, Paths of something.
Radiance?
No. Dang it, I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
It's the game that had 28 different endings.
Stories,
Yeah.
Path of Destinies?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mentioned this because on the PS4 I played it and it seriously it has 28 different endings. Like this is the game where your choice actually matters because the thing you do moves you along in a certain way. It's very much choose your own adventure and it works in that way. Most games that tell you your choice matters still brings you into one of maybe 3 or 4 predetermined endings. But this has 28 different endings.
Yeah.
There's
So everything matters.
There's so many different ways to get to different endings.
Yeah.
So it all matters, which was fantastic when they did this. Then about 2 years ago, I went to PAX and I saw their second game called Omen Sight. And I really, really liked what I saw there. I never did finish playing it, but I did play the demo of it. And it was, again, it was another interesting concept on a pre-established genre. Project Witchstone, is the same thing. I don't want to say it's a roguelike, but it is very assemble your group, of its medieval set. Assemble your group and go. It's top-down exploration type stuff. Go out and battle and do quests and things like that. So,
Right.
the example that he gave me was that you can go good or bad. It doesn't really matter. If you see somebody being harassed by the local authorities or whatever, you can choose to step in or you can choose not to. It all depends. If you choose to step in and you're able to rescue the person, then that's great. If you choose to step in and you're able to rescue the person but kill the guards by doing so, you're still kind of branded a murderer and the townspeople still fear you. If you decide not to do anything and people witness that, then you're looked upon as somebody who just doesn't care.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways to handle different things the way you want to do it. And I don't know what the consequences are of being branded that in the town and that sort of thing. I have no idea.
I can imagine. What
Yeah,
the consequences
the game's a
would be,
good ways off before they do a release for it. But I think the best thing for me visiting here was that the guy showing it off recognized me from when I met him at PAX South years and years and years and years ago
Oh, wow.
for stories. Because we interviewed him, I think we interviewed him on our show. And then, of course, I saw him for Omen Sight, and then I saw him again, and I said, yeah, man, this is fantastic. I support anything you do because you've been doing great with what you've done. I was very impressed by Stories. This is a game, by the way, if you haven't played Stories, give it a shot. It's seriously impressive with how much effort they put into giving you, I mean, you want to talk about replayability.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so that was Project Witchstone. We're still on Friday.
Jeez.
Then I saw a game called Jamestown Plus. Have you ever played Jamestown?
I did not.
Because when I got there, somebody else was playing it and talking about playing it in the old days. It's a shooter, not a first-person shooter. It's a top-down space shooter type thing. Bullet, whatever. And you can co-op it. Actually, you can 4-player it, which I think is the difference here. That's why it's called Jamestown Plus. Jamestown was, I think, a single-player thing, and now Plus they put in three. You can have at least 3 other people playing, and it's got the old mechanics of the whole thing where you're firing just a number of bullets and are moving around, and you pick up power-ups and things like that give you
1942 style.
flared guns and everything else. Yeah. So I didn't play too much of it because it was very simple to understand, and I was like, okay, this is what it is. But I enjoyed what I played. So
Any mechanics that stick out?
none that I know of.
Really?
The whole co-op ability type thing was cool.
Just the fact that we haven't had a game like that in a while.
You guys remember a game that we played on Xbox 360? Was it a GS Wing? I don't know if you played. Did you ever have it? You had a 360, right?
Yeah, 360.
Yeah, a GS Wing was like this free game that you could download from Xbox Live Arcade. and it was 4 ships,
Yeah.
different colors.
Yeah, red,
And we
blue,
all
and-
played
yeah.
through it. Yeah. That's kind of what it that was side-scroller, but it's kind of what that reminded me of.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly what it reminded me of. So that was Jamestown Plus. Then I played a game called Neon Noodles. This game is still being worked on. This was in the Indie MegaBooth for 2 days only until they switched it out with other games. Neon Noodles is you basically have a robot and you have to program this robot to cook by using tiles. So if I want him to serve, I don't know, it was, I can't remember the first thing you serve, but the first thing you basically serve is something that only needs to be chopped. That's it. So you program him to pick up the item,
And chop it.
then you program him to put it on the chopping table, then you program him to pick it up and then put it on the serving table, and that was it. You just had to write that program, and then once that program, and you have to write it in such a way that when you're done with the serving, it has to loop back so that it can start the next task. Otherwise, it'll be facing the wrong direction and it'll start the next task again, and it'll throw it completely off. So you have to seriously write the program for this robot.
Program simulator.
It gets even more difficult when you add more robots and more food stations and different recipes and everything else, which is what we were doing. In fact, in the middle of play, he said, yeah, I need another. He's like, I got to write in something else in this part because I've taken the player from doing these 2 objectives to doing 4 objectives, and I've completely skipped a step on how to tell them how to do this other thing. So I think I need to put another step in there where they do this, and then they can get the idea of how that's supposed to work.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though, to see like it as like in the process of developing it.
He totally is, yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
this is a long way off. He is totally in the process of developing it. I liked it, though. I really like the aspect, especially once you get them going. Watching a robot do what it's supposed to do in lightning time
Yeah.
just is amazing. And when you have a bunch of them doing it all at the same time in this
Working in
weird
tandem.
dance, it's fantastic. It's fascinating.
And then they form Skynet and kill you.
Yeah, right. What was the next thing I saw? Merge games. What would that have been? Oh, man.
Do we need to hit a break?
Merge games. Hang on. I got to figure out what this was first.
Okay.
Because it's bothering me. No, it wasn't Path of Exile.
And this was all on Friday, you say?
Yeah, I'm still on Friday, by the way.
Man.
We haven't gotten a... Well, trust me, this is it. I mean, Friday was my... Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll take a break.
This might take a minute.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with these 2 games. These other 2 games I played, but we'll talk about those when we get back. Here is music again from Peter McConnell, who did music for Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. And that is what this track comes from. I think it's just the main theme, I guess. But anyway, we'll be back with the morning game chat right after this. And welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music from Peter McConnell, who did the music for Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Yep.
So that is what that is from. Getting back to PAX real quick. Merge Games booth. Stop it. A game called Sparklight, which was Zelda-esque. Very Legend of Zelda-y.
What was it called again?
Sparklight.
Sparklight.
Yeah. Very much in the vein of Legend of Zelda. And I liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was Stranded Sails. That one I wasn't really big on. Stranded Sails was very much a...
I was about to say it's not a Sea of Thieves situation.
It's not. Basically, you're stranded on an island, and you go and you meet these people, and as you do it, they assign you quests of like, well, I'll help you out, but you need to first like plant this garden for me, or help me with my garden, or catch some fish, or build this, or do that. And yeah, I really couldn't get the mechanic down because there's also a dream mechanic where apparently all of this stuff is happening in your head while you're unconscious. And I couldn't get my head around what was actually happening. I didn't spend a lot of time with it, so I'm not saying that there's any kind of fault to the game because of that. So, and then the next game I played was called Feyland, which was Faeland. You basically play a fairy, and it's a side-scroller hack and slash type thing. Basically is what it is. Took me 15 minutes to beat the boss at the end of it, and that annoyed me because it was basically you had enough time to get off one hit every time the boss made an appearance. And so if I was close, I could maybe make a slash at him. If I was far away, if I could time it just enough, I could throw an arrow at him. If I had any arrows to shoot.
It pops in and out.
Yeah, it was a spider. And I was in like his cave, and he would pop out of different holes. It was very 16-bitish view. And so he would pop out of a cave, fire a web, and then you'd have to jump over it or whatever, and hopefully get there enough time to where you could get an attack on
it. Reminds me of a boss battle in Ghouls and Ghosts. That large worm at the bottom, and you can only hit it in the heart, 5 hearts, and it would randomly pop up. And it was only vulnerable when it popped out, so you had to run left and right along its body to hit the thing. So
it was.
They can get really annoying.
It was very annoying. Yeah. That part I didn't like. Everything else I was okay with.
Yeah.
The next thing I played was Creature in the Well, which we've talked about. That was great. I enjoyed that very much. Now we're on to Saturday, by the way. Then I played a game called The Veil.
Okay.
This is a real risk of a title.
Okay, why is that?
Because there are no visuals.
Okay.
This is an audio-only game.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I will say that there are visuals in the sense of there is a screen for the title. There's screens for the options and things like that. But in the main game itself, there is no visual. There are these little glowing things on the screen that have nothing to do with what's going on.
Little
it's just
wisps of light.
Yeah, it's just there to kind of fill the screen.
It's a screensaver.
Yeah, in a sense. While the rest of the game is played in your ears.
Feels like this is the role of a blind person you're taking.
You are.
Okay, yeah.
You are a blind person. You're taking the role of a blind person. But there is no like echolocation. There's none of this. We've done blind people before, right?
Not like a perception or anything like that. Yeah.
Where you knock your walking stick and
like
it sort of
and you
get the echolocation type stuff, and they go, oh, now I can see. No, none of that. It's set in medieval times.
Okay.
And this whole thing plays out where I get lost, my character gets lost or whatever. I get the carriage that I'm in gets attacked, and I get lost and that sort of thing. They took me through a combat tutorial, which is interesting, because I don't know who it is that's teaching me, but again, they have some great voice actors working on this. They have to. Everything is audible, so it has to be very.
I think they have to. Yeah.
It has to be very precise and very high quality, and it is. So the guy's telling me, he's like, just listen to where I am, and then make your swing from there. And so I could tell, listening in the headphones, I could tell if he was behind me, to the left, to the right, in front, even if he was at a certain, angle of being not necessarily left or ahead of me. Maybe he was front and to the left a little bit, that sort of thing. I could sort of figure out where he was. And he says, here's how you block attacks, and here's how you make an attack, and that sort of thing. You just listen for where I am. And everything was heard. Like, you could hear the leather of his boots or his armor or whatever it is that he's wearing. You could hear these things move. So I could hear footsteps, and I could hear him walk around me in a circle, telling me what to do. He's like, when I raise up, you strike. When you hear me go for my attack, you strike. And so I would hear him walk around, and then I would hear the movement of, like, his clothing. And then in that direction, I would take the swing. And the swing is simply just firing the right, flicking the right stick in the right direction.
And your name is Zadochi.
And that was fantastic. Honestly, it's a game.
I can imagine it with like really good headphones, just being engrossed in it.
What I proposed to them was that this is an actual game I could play on the show.
Yeah,
I could literally play this game on the show. You do not have to see anything. It is completely all theater of the mind. It's in your head, and I could essentially play it on the show. And I might do that. I might spend 15 minutes per show just playing a little bit of the game and moving ahead. Although they weren't keen on me playing the entire game.
I can imagine that.
But this was, I was completely fascinated by this. I'm fascinated in two reasons, because of that they're doing this audio only thing and how interesting they have to do with sound. I mean, sound effects, there's tons.
The sound design has to be spot on.
Water rippling, bugs, breezes and things like that. Everything is in there.
Like you said, the ruffling of clothing.
Yeah, they don't cheapen out on this sort of thing. So that was fascinating to me. The second thing that's fascinating to me is that they're taking a huge risk.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, what is on the back of your box? Assuming there's a box copy of this, what's on the back of your box? There's nothing. I mean, there is
graphic card needed. Not really.
I mean,
they have a logo, but I mean, that's it.
We've done blind games before, but it all hinges on altered vision of some type. There is no vision in this game, and I'm concerned how that's going to affect a lot of people who's used to having vision in all the games they've played. So it is a risk. Yeah, it is a risk on this one, like you said before.
But think how much more engrossed you'll be in the story. You're not distracted by visuals or anything like that. You're not looking at like how well the game plays.
What I would think would be kind of interesting for this, like if you did this in VR, where in your VR headset, because you have the microphones, right?
I want to say I asked them about the VR aspect.
Because like you have the microphones in the headset, so if you had the goggles on, it will not all will be just black, because it's like a sensory deprivation.
Yeah.
So you're kind of encased in like this darkness.
Like all you got to do
but
is wisps.
on the monitor, because people usually have it hooked up also to a monitor, they could see the guy moving or whatever. That might be an interesting. So that way, people watching it could see what's going on, but all you would have would be your audio. I don't know. Just thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to say I asked them about VR, but I think the whole point of that I think the point they gave in VR was that why. It does seem interesting, but basically, again, you'd be looking at a blank screen and you'd only be listening.
As opposed to now.
Well, I mean, VR is more of a visual, 3D, immersive type thing. In visual and audio both.
But that way you'd be using the headset to sort of like even more so blind you.
No, I get it. It's like that way I could turn and swing with my controller or something like that. I understand what you're saying. And they may have something like that. I don't know.
But the only thing you would have in VR would be the like you said, the screensaver, little motes of light floating around. That's all you'd get.
It really is.
Do you really want to use the VR for just that? The audio I can see. The audio I can see what you're saying, but the visual.
I've already reached out to him once. I'll reach out to him again and see if we can get an interview.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to them about that. I saw Round Guard. I want to say I talked about that. I don't know if I talked about it on air or off air. Round Guard is basically Peggle, but with some combat in there. In other words, you fire out a guard, and he bounces onto enemies and hits across the board and that sort of thing. And you've got you can pick up mana along the way, so you can do magic attacks. You can pick up health as you're falling down, so you can replenish your health, because every time you make an attack, they take some points off you, you take points off them. And as you bounce around, you're taking damage, also giving damage, but you're also taking damage. So, yeah, it was interesting.
So you bounced around, the guard is shot out or what?
Yeah, your guard's basically just this chubby little guard. He's a ball.
So it's like Pain?
Huh?
Pain?
No, Peggle.
I said Pain. Yeah, is it like Pain, though? Like some shot from a cat ball hitting the thing causing damage, breaking things.
I don't know.
Unless you're being shot in the enemies.
No. It's not like that. It's
Okay.
not. I know what you're saying. Yeah. No, take a look at it. There's a trailer.
Okay.
Take a look at the Round Guard trailer, and you'll understand what I'm saying. On Sunday, what did I see? Because we're running out of time. Spiritfarer, great game, awesome game, sad game.
Oh.
Spiritfarer is about you helping people get to the place where they want to go so that they can die.
Yay.
They're ready to leave the world, but before they do that, you have to take them there. And on that journey, they want you to... Some of them will want you to stop by these other little places. You take the ship elsewhere, back to their childhood home,
I'm
so
ready
they
to
can
die,
remember.
But first, let's go to KFC.
No. Someone will want you to plant to plant a flower for them because it reminds them of home or something like this. It's all very emotional with memories and things like this as they go on before they die. You are joined by a cat, a little pet cat, which player 2 can control. You can fish off the back of the boat as you're sailing. Mm-hmm. You pick up other passengers, so eventually your boat has all these different houses on it that you've built for the people that you're carrying to their place of rest. Mm. It's very, Arioki, it is kind of uplifting, actually. It's because you're helping these people and giving them their closure and their final moments of what they need. And I don't know. For me, there was a sense of, this is really nice.
Okay.
So yeah, what was? Then I played Big Drunk Satanic Massacre (BDSM). I didn't like that game. It was basically a top-down.
Yeah, like we said,
Diablo thingy.
Yeah.
I was like, eh.
Like Reloaded.
It felt kind of boring.
Yeah.
It really did. Jet Cave Adventure, great little platformer where you play a caveman who finds a jetpack. And it's a side-scrolling game, and it's...
Is it anything like Rocket Knight Adventures?
I don't know. I haven't played that.
Okay. But
it's a side-scroller. You attack with things. You double jump. You speed boost through barriers with the jetpack. Mm-hmm. There's other levels where it plays like... side-scroller with the ship that goes up and down as you're fighting through the thing. So, yeah. There's different aspects to it. As a platformer, it's kind of cool. What else did I play? Oh, Turbo Play. That was interesting. I can't talk about that because I don't have enough time to talk about Turbo Play.
Yeah, we're running.
Just let me know that we ended off with Turbo Play because I do want to talk about it. It's a new game store. It's a new PC gaming marketplace that is not yet ready, but will be soon. And I want to get into that, but I can't. So anyway, that is going to wrap it up for us. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to do this again next week. I'm going to keep all these news stories and move them over to next week because there was a ton. We didn't even talk about Overwatch on the Switch or the SNES games that were put on the Switch.
What we played.
Yeah, we didn't talk about what we played. Well, I've talked about what I'm playing. There's a ton that we missed, and so I'm keeping it all. We'll do it next week. To leave you with this track, again, this is the track that I've used a lot of tracks from this game before. I never knew that Peter McConnell actually did some of the tracks for it. One of the tracks he did was this one. It's called Empty, and it is from the game Valiant Hearts. So, have a great one, everybody. We will see you next Saturday.